Hello, welcome to Jason the Old Millennial. My name is Jason. It's being here in my basement in the great state of Kansas. Today's video, I am doing my top 10 favorite Adele songs. Yes, recently I did a deep dive on Adele's career, though not the longest of careers, only 4 albums. And she started at 19, she's like in her 30s now, so definitely, hopefully more coming from Adele, but still incredible career. I mean, she's done so much, made history basically in the short time that she's only 4 albums that she's made. She's 21, 25 have been astronomically some of the greatest selling albums of all time. And even in those 4 albums, I think there's still some amazing songs here to put up my top 10. So let's get to it here on Jason the Old Millennial. Hello everybody, hope everybody's doing well here. It's a late night on Thursday night. I was going to do this video a little bit earlier, but then I got hooked on watching the NBA game where Boston just absolutely creamed Dallas in the first game. So wasn't too exciting, but it's the finals. So I've been watching the finals since 1992. So I always like to watch the finals and see what happens. But anyways, get into this video. Doing my top 10 favorite songs of the singer Adele. Adele is probably my favorite female singer of all time. It's hard between her and Celine Dion. Adele and Celine Dion, to me, the 2 great singers of all time. For me, I absolutely love their voices and a lot of their music. And Adele is definitely very easy to get through because it's only 4 albums. And in my opinion, 2 of them are just absolutely fantastic. The other 2 aren't particularly that great. Such as can be a hit or miss, but when she hits, man, she hits really good. So obviously, most of my songs are going to be from the 25 and 21 album because those are my two favorite albums of hers. But yeah, some absolutely great songs from her. Obviously, I'm going to talk about them, and it's what can you say, Adele? Her songs are great because a lot of times they're ballads. She has these great ballads, a lot of time piano, maybe acoustic guitar. And they throw in some extra instruments. And sometimes she has some more upbeat songs. Sometimes she has more jazzier songs. I'm not as big fan of those. I do love her ballads. That's where she really hits hard, is those ballads. Like my friend Briar says, I'm a sucker for ballads. And that's why I feel like, and definitely that's where she's at her strongest, because her voice just carries a song without much. In fact, when I was listening to some of these songs, I thought, I don't know if I've ever seen a singer be able to carry a song with few instruments backing her up. Like, she doesn't really need a lot of instruments, just a piano or acoustic guitar and just her belting it out. That's all you need. Anyways, before I get to my top 10, there's 3 songs I put in my honorable mention. Pretty good stuff, some hit songs that she even had that didn't get in my top 10. From her 19 album, I have Make You Feel My Love, which is a cover of a Bob Dylan song, which Garth Brooks also made pretty famous as well. Set Fire to the Rain from her, I believe that's from her 21 album, it was a radio hit song, a little more upbeat, but a good song. And from her 25 album, I've got Send My Love to My New Lover, which is another, maybe a little more pop-ish song, really good. Just didn't quite make it in my top 10, very close though. But for number 10 on my list, I'm going for the song Rumor Has It, which comes off of her 21 album. It's definitely a more upbeat kind of song. Rumor has it, doom, doom, doom. It has a little more of a jazzier feel, which I'm usually not crazy about, but it is a little catchy. And I do like when she gets to that one part where the instruments go out and she kind of sings a cappella at the very end of the verse, where rumor has it you have not done anymore. Rumor has it, in the background singer sing, and then they go right back with the instruments. And then there's this interesting part of the song where it's just her and the piano. It slows down. The whole song kind of changes pace. And she has this whole section where it's just her and the piano. And she's singing a kind of almost different type of song. And then after she gets done with that, she goes right back into the rumor has it, rumor has it. Anyway, so really cool how it's constructed. But yeah, so number 10, Rumor Has It. Number 9, this song is one of the more deep cuts. It wasn't a hit song, but man, it's one of the most beautiful songs in her catalog. And I have it number 9. This is Million Years Ago. Comes out for her 25 album. Like I said, it's more of a hidden gem song, one I didn't know until I heard it. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so beautiful. It is an absolute beautiful ballad, just I'm trying to think. This is one is I think it's just her and acoustic guitar, and it's a beautiful acoustic guitar picking, very well done, and just her just carrying the song with her voice. Again, like I said, her voice just carries the song, and what she does so well is starts off, very fairly soft, and as the song progresses, she gets a little bit louder. She crescendos. She starts belting it out more. By the end, she's really belting it out, and you're just like, oh my gosh, that voice so good. Yeah, it's an absolute amazing ballad. A million years ago at number 9. Number 8, this is, I think this was, I want to say this might have been a hit song on the radio. I feel like I've heard it before. I heard the album. But this is called Remedy, which comes off the 25 album. Again, another song coming off that 25 album. Again, another just great kind of ballad off, more piano ballad, I would say, off that album. Again, just her voice is so beautiful. Don't have a lot to add to it. I'm going to repeat myself. A lot of these are just she has a beautiful voice. Love the ballads. Love the piano on here. Yeah, just beautiful piano playing. Dun, 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 just the different notes that they're hitting, and getting to that chorus, and yeah, it's amazing song. Remedy at number 8. Number 7, I'm going back to her actually first album, 19, and this was kind of a hit song off of there. I think I'm kind of mild hit. It's called Hometown Glory, and this is this is a really great song for her early on to really showcase how good her voice can be on a kind of a slower song. Again, 19, I wasn't as big a fan of the album because it seemed a more jazzier style, and this song has maybe more jazzier style. I would say jazzier style to it that I'm not as crazy about, but I think the song is absolutely magnificent. Again, it's interesting. It has a kind of a long intro with the piano, but once that piano gets into the main dun, 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 whatever that playing that does, oh my gosh, great piano playing, and she's killing it on the vocals, the verses and everything, and then you get to that chorus, great chorus, the in my hometown, bum, 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 whatever. It's a very catchy chorus. Really carries that song when you get to those chorus parts, and everything else is just absolutely beautiful. It really showcases how what great voice she has and how much potential she has going on forward from this album. Number 5, or number 7, that was number 7. Number 6, I'm staying, I have 2 songs I have a song from every album actually, at least one song. I have 2 from 19 actually. The very first song I've ever heard from Adele is number 6 on my list, and that is Chasing Pavements, which was kind of the big single off that album. And yeah, it's the first song I ever heard from her. I remember watching the YouTube channel, or YouTube, this is before YouTube, I'm sorry, VH1. I used to watch VH1 music videos back in this time period, whenever this came out. And I remember this music video coming on, and I thought it was a really cool music video. And I didn't know who Adele was, but I was kind of pretty impressed by it. I think it's one of her catchiest songs. That's why it's still one of my favorites, number 6 on my list. It's the first one, but yet it's just that, should I go on to chasing pavements, even if it goes nowhere, whatever. Should I go on or something? I'm not doing it justice, but the way she does that chorus, oh my gosh, very catchy. The whole song's pretty catchy. It's not a slow ballad like most of her songs. It's a little, I'd say not fast paced, but a little more faster paced for her. But it doesn't showcase exactly her big voice like Hometown Glory does, but it still showcases that she can kill it even in a kind of poppy-ish song like this. And again, just a catchy song. And she's great on it. So number 6, Chasing Pavements, her first big hit. Number 5 is probably her biggest hit of all time, or at least one of them, one of the 2 biggest hits, and that is Rolling in the Deep, which is the huge song off of 21. I mean, this song was all over the radio. It was all over on music videos. It was number 1. It was the number 1 song of that year it came out. I mean, everybody talked about the song. It really was like the first big song after her 19 album, which showed potential, but wasn't showcasing her as like the greatest singer. I feel like on her second album, she went less from the jazzier style, more mainstream style, I guess. I don't know, more, I don't, I can say pop music, but it's more of these big ballad type songs. But this is a little more faster paced. I mean, but I love how it begins with just the acoustic, sounds like maybe just an acoustic guitar strumming, or maybe electric guitar, but it's just guitar strumming with her voice. It almost sounds a cappella. And again, right away you go, oh my gosh, her voice can really carry the song just with the guitar and her voice. And so I like how it starts off very just minimal, just her and guitar, and but it's a little more faster paced. And then again, it's that chorus. That chorus is what absolutely kills you when you get to it. Um, Rolling in the deep, whatever. Uh, yeah, great chorus. I mean, if you know Adele, as soon as you hear that rolling in the deep part, I can picture the music video in my head. I have it right now in my head. Like it was all over the place. It was a great music video of her singing it. And it won, of course, the Grammy album or Grammy Song of the Year. So it was definitely the big song of the year. And I agree. It really showcased her voice, really belting it out there. Great chorus to it. And also, I even loved the whole production of the instrumental, how they did all that. And in the background, singers come in at one part and go, whoa. There's like this cool background thing that goes on. And yeah, just the verses are great. Just her line, her way she sings it, how it begins, everything is great about the song. So number 5, one of the biggest songs, Rolling in the Deep. Number 4 is her kind of her last really big hit that she's had, and that was from her. It's the only song I have from her 30 album. Her 30 album is my least favorite. It only has one song I like on it, but it is a really good song, and it's here on number 4, and it's Easy on Me. And this was kind of her first big like comeback song, because there was a bit of a gap between her 25 album and her 30 album. In fact, I want to say there's 5 years or more in between the albums coming out at least. And so there's a long time period where like, wow, Adele hadn't made an album in a long time, and her last 2 albums were album of the years and were one of the best selling albums of all time. Why is she not? Of course, she went through a lot of things at this time. She got married, she had a son, and then she went through a divorce. And so then she was a single mother. And so she also lost a bunch of weight during this time period. So there's a lot going on during this like gap between that. And so when she came back, was like, I'm making another album. I was so excited. I mean, I was like, oh my gosh, like I was really waiting for another album. I mean, when it hit Spotify, like at midnight, I started listening to this album like right at midnight when it dropped. I was so excited to listen to this album, and I was so disappointed by it. I was like, oh my gosh. But even before the album came out, we got this song Easy on Me. I loved it. Like a week or so before the album came out, she put out the single, which was kind of cool. It's like, oh, okay, I was like, I'm excited for the album, but okay, let's hear the first single. And it was a big music video. I remember watching the music video on YouTube or whatever, and it was huge. It got a lot of hits, and it was a big song for her. It did very well. I think it might even won a Grammy for like pop song, best pop vocal performance or something like that. And yeah, I remember when I first heard it, I thought it was just okay. I wasn't totally into it. I didn't feel like it was as good as some of her other big hits. It's number 4 on my list, so obviously I like it a lot. But the like 3 above it to me are like, top tier, Adele. And so I was kind of hoping for another top tier song. So I remember the first time hearing it, just going, it's okay. And it's a song, Easy on Me. And she explained it's about, a song written to her son, saying, because her son just had to, witness, her parents going through a divorce, which is always tough on a kid. And she's, of course, Adele's probably going through a hard time through all that. So Adele's trying to say to her son, be easy on me, I was, young, and and all this stuff, and why, all this stuff happened. And she's kind of sorry that it all happened to her, but basically like, try not to be hard on me on, what happened. So it's a nice sentimental song to her son. But the more I've listened to it, the more it's really caught on with me. And the more I'm like, man, I'm really getting into this song. And it's really that piano. The piano is so beautiful how it begins with that piano kind of riff. Bum, 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 whatever. And then it's not one of her best choruses, but still, her voice is very beautiful. Go easy on me, I was just a child. Something like that. Anyway, still very beautiful vocals. Not one of her best vocal performances, but still, it's a very nice kind of ballad song. Still got her. Still, I look at it going, it was a good comeback song. Unfortunately, she didn't have any other songs that lived up to it on the album, so it ended up being a really boring album, except for one really great song, Easy on Me, which is number 4 on my list. All right, my 3 to 1 are all just, man, some of the greatest songs I think I've ever heard. Uh, they all could be number one, but number three, I've got Someone Like You from her 21 album. It was another really huge hit that was on the radio a lot. Probably second biggest hit behind Rolling in the Deep that came off that album. In my opinion, I would have voted this song of the year instead of Rolling in the Deep. I like Rolling in the Deep, but Someone You, oh my gosh, this showcased how good of a singer is, maybe more than anything else. And one of the funniest things about this song is it's kind of blown up as this. There's a Saturday Night Live skit where this office worker was everybody was gone except this office worker, and she starts listening to Someone Like You and cries, and it's and so it came to this kind of meme of this song that makes you cry because it's very sentimental or whatever you want to say, very kind of it's sad but hopeful at the same time. And then all these other office workers come in and like, what are you doing? Listening to Adele and crying? And then they start playing Someone Like You, and then everybody else is crying. And so it comes a song that, yeah, it's the crying song, which is kind of funny. And she's kind of got, really, she has a good sense of humor, Adele, and she's really got into that. But into the song, again, just a beautiful ballad where when she hits that, I'll find someone like you. And it's a good, again, it's a song about, someone broke up with you, but you're saying to that person, never mind. Yeah, it goes, never mind, I'll find someone like you. So it's saying, don't feel sorry for me. I'll find a good person. I don't worry. I'll be okay. I'll rebound from this relationship and I'll find, but he's saying someone like you. So it's also kind of sad because saying, that like that person that broke up with them is maybe the best person they've ever been with, but they're hopeful that they'll find another person like that one. Anyways, so lyrically, it's actually really good, very kind of an inspirational, I think, hopeful song in a sense that I really like. But it's one of her best vocal performances, I think, especially like towards the end. She sings really good, really good. She's at a 10, and then towards the end, she turns it up to 11. She belts it out only the way she can, and you're like, oh my gosh, like she was really good. I didn't know she can be that good. Like she turned it up a level somehow at the end. Anyways, but yeah, absolutely beautiful ballad. Someone Like You at number 3. Number 2, my top 2 are from the 25 album. That's my favorite album from her. As you can see, I have quite a, 4 of her songs on there. Let's see. 3 songs from 21, 4 from 25. So yeah, I really love that 25 album. But my number 2 is I think this might have been a mild hit for her, and is When We Are Young. When We Are Young. Oh my gosh, this blew me away. First time I heard it, I was like, oh my gosh, like I can't believe how beautiful a song. It's such a journey of a song where I love how it begins with that piano, just these piano chords and this bass, and then her voice comes in. The music video is pretty cool because you see her like in this church and you see all the people that are the instrumentalists and the background singers and her singing. Really cool music video. I watch it all the time because I love this song. And it's kind of a song about reminiscing about the past, talking about, yeah, of course, as you can tell from the name song, talking about when you're young and kind of almost being somewhat bitter about getting older, which I kind of understand. It's easy to get bitter when you get older. And she's not that old. She's still young, Adele. So it's kind of crazy. But anyways, but it does get louder as the song goes on. She crescendos a little bit more and more. And just a great chorus. Again, the verses are like, oh my gosh, this is beautiful. And then she hits you with that chorus, and you're like, oh my gosh, this chorus, so amazing. Let me photograph you in this light, something like that. It's just beautiful. And she belted out like she can, and there's a cool middle period, and then there's some background singers that come in with When We Were Young, When We Were Young. And it's like, oh, great background vocals with her coming back in. And then at the very end, yeah, she's like, you're just like a movie. It's just like a song. My God, it reminds me when we were young. She's like, oh my gosh. She like hits these notes like I've never heard people hit before. I'm like, wow, she's just, again, went up another level, hitting some crazy notes that not very many singers can hit. And you're just like, okay, that's it. Adele, you're like the greatest singer I've ever heard. That's why I'm like, it's done. You're amazing. And then she goes right into that chorus again, belting it out, and just like, wow, what a great song! Like I said, what a great journey of a song from beginning, middle to end. It's just it changes up a little bit as it goes. It's getting a little more louder, more background vocals, more instruments. It's like, oh my gosh, it just really hits you at the end. Or like I said, when I first heard it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is like one of the greatest songs I've ever heard in my life. It's just definitely would be up there on my all-time song list. Like I said, I don't think it was one of her biggest hits, but I think it was a little bit of a minor hit, at least for should be a huge hit for her, in my opinion. I do love the line at the end. She throws in this line that she only throws at the end, talking about, getting older, and she's like, I'm getting old. Talking about getting old or something like that. Something about I hate getting old and it makes me reckless or something like that. Is this line? I'm not saying it right, but it's kind of a cool line just throwing in there about, yeah, I hate getting old. It sucks. And I'm not old yet, but I'm getting there. But anyways, I do feel for in that line anyways. But anyways, all right, my number one favorite Adele song is another huge hit for a good reason. It's incredible, and that is the song "Hello." "Hello" was the big single off of her 25 album. It's, I believe, the first song on the album. It opened up the album. Another huge hit all over the radio. I remember 21. It's so crazy. I mean, every time I think about it, 21 just blew up. Adele went from like, oh, she's pretty good to, oh, she's like one of the greatest of all time in just 2 albums. Just the jump from 1921 was, I mean, she was all everywhere. She was all over the albums and the song rankings and Grammys, and one of the best selling albums of all time. I mean, she became such a huge celebrity after that. It's just crazy. And then you're like, well, there's no way she can, do that again. I mean, there's no way she can repeat what she did with 21. And then I remember 25 coming out, which there wasn't a huge gap between 21 and 25. I felt like only a couple of years or something like that. And then 25 came out with that first single, Hello, and you're like, okay, let's see what she got here. And I remember when it coming out, and I'm like kind of anticipating, like, oh, I'm curious what she's gonna do next, because I didn't think she was gonna repeat herself. And then Hello comes out, and I was like, oh my gosh, Hello, this is the greatest song I've ever heard. I mean, one of the greatest songs I've ever heard. My favorite Adele song ever. I mean, first time I heard it, I was like, this is the best Adele song. This is better than anything she did on 21. 21 was a great album. And of course, Hello ended up winning the Grammy Song of the Year. And 25 ended up, to me, being an even better album, 21, which I was like, I didn't know that was possible. And I was like, she repeated herself and did better. Like, it's incredible. I mean, to put 2 amazing albums back to back, 21, 25, I mean, not very many artists have done anything like that. But anyways, I'm getting all over the place. But getting to that song, I mean, just even how it begins. Hello, it's me, or something like that. I'm California dreaming, something, something, something. Really great beginning to it. And again, the chorus is the greatest chorus I think she's ever done. And really, she belted out, hello from the other side. I've called you about 1,000 times. Oh my gosh, when she hits those notes and elongates those notes, it's like, oh, it's so incredible. Like, I remember hearing that first time going, oh my God, like, that was the greatest, like, notes I've ever heard, greatest chorus I've ever heard. It really hooked me in right away. I was like, oh my gosh, this song's amazing. And when that song came out, man, I was listening to that song over and over again. And when I finally got around to listen to 25, I was like, oh my gosh, this album, one of the greatest albums I've ever heard, in my opinion. And really took me on to being an Adele fan. I was kind of an Adele fan with 21. 25, I was like, I'm definitely an Adele fan, and I want more Adele. It sucks that she only has 4 albums out. Like, I want 8 albums. I wish I had twice as many albums of her singing. Even though 30 wasn't that great, I would love to hear her do more. I hope she does more in the near future, because I'd love to get more out of her. But yeah, Hello, just that belting it out, and hitting some high notes and elongating some belting out notes is just, I think, her best vocal performance. For me, it's her best vocal performance I've ever heard. And and probably the best, again, Celine Dion. It's hard to go against Celine Dion. Celine Dion's had some amazing, and you can go Whitney Houston for sure. She's had some great moments. And there's so many other singers you can throw at me, but man, Adele, it's like, you can say there's other good ones. I don't know if there's gonna be better than what she did here with Hello. And yeah, so that's gonna be my number one. Like I said, the top three are so good. They all can be number one, but Hello right now is the song that I go to the most for Adele. Absolutely amazing song. Very, very glad that it won Song of the Year. Very deserving of that title for her. But anyways, that's my top 10 favorite Adele songs. And anybody's watching this, I know some people are like, Adele? Who cares about Adele? I know. I like to cover everything from Adele to the Beatles, to Queen, to Led Zeppelin. You know, I try to cover different genres. I'm a fan of different genres in different eras of music, from the 60s all the way to the 2000s here, in the 2010s even. I'll cover all of that. And so that's why I covered Adele. Fairly easy one to cover because her career is not that long. And I still love it. Still want to, you know, tell people, if you haven't listened to Adele, man, I can't recommend Adele enough. If you don't like, I mean, come on. Don't tell me you don't like a good voice, a good singer. I mean, that can just belt it out. I mean, that's what music is. That's what's so great about music. When you have people like this, that can just do something that you never heard before and belts out notes that you never heard before. Really makes it exciting for music in a sense. Anyway, so that's my top 10 Adele. Thank you for watching. Thank you for liking the video. And thank you to all my subscribers for supporting the channel. I appreciate you all and hope you have a good day.